All right, mi gente, let's go over the official rules for the random selection draw for phase 3 of the ticket sales process for FIFA World Cup 26. This is effective from December 11, 2025. So we're going to go over some of the major things, but of course you can find this document under the legal documents section of FIFA's website if you really want to look into it, or if I missed something you want to point it out, that's where you will go ahead and find this document and then go ahead and point it out to me and of course correct this video. Okay, I am not an attorney. I'm just here reviewing it as a consumer, as a customer myself. And so again, if I do miss anything or if I do misinterpret anything, please excuse the error. Feel free to correct me in the comments, and we'll all hopefully learn together and go from there. So, first part is just defining the terms itself. The draws, RSD draw is the random selection draw, which is what this is the name of phase 3. Participant member associations is a PMA. Supporter draws. So it's individually PMA draw, collectively PMA draws. So cool. We got some of the vocabulary kind of out of the way. So the RSD draw and the PMA draws are separate, each of which is available to each eligible person subject to the eligibility provisions below. So when you go and visit the site, okay, there's going to be the RSD draw, the random selection draw. Eligible persons who enter the RSD draw will have the chance to be randomly selected, be allocated, and automatically purchase individual tickets to single game matches across the tournament's 104 matches, subject to ticket availability. Then there's the PMA draw, which, again, when you enter the draw itself, there's going to be a section for you to include your PMA number. We'll get into that in a bit. But eligible persons who enter a PMA draw will have a chance to be randomly selected to be allocated automatically purchase supporter tickets or conditional supporter tickets. That's if, say, for example, you want to buy, you're really confident that Colombia makes it to the semifinal. You want to buy that semifinal for Atlanta, okay? But one of the things of this World Cup, of this draw process, is that you will have to buy it right away. There's not going to be a, hey, we'll, give you a maybe ticket, an IOU ticket, just in case if Colombia makes it. No, you would have to buy it immediately. We'll talk more about that in a bit. Okay. And of course, you don't have to enter any of these draws, which means you don't get the chance of getting tickets. All right, eligibility. Okay, I think this is kind of important because people really need to know what they're doing with these applications. All right, you got to be 18 and over. All right, can't be under 18. So you young bloods are under 18. Got to get your parents or a family member to apply tickets for you. All right. You might need to provide additional information whereas necessary and required by FIFA. A PMA may separately provide its individual supporters of a team with that PMA number. It's an access code that you will be able to input. Again, when you enter the phase 3 application page, there will be a specific section that says PMA supporter. Okay. Now you will have to reach out to the football association of the country you wish to be part of the supporters group in order for you to get that PMA number. I do not have a list of those. I don't know if it might be useful if I get a list of those, but I don't know. I'll have to see, also, considering that, I'm only would be supporting Colombia. I guess I can go ahead and try to find Colombia's, but again, that might be something that might be doing too much for myself. Okay, this is already a lot of work as it is. But basically, you do need to get that PMA number from the F8 that you wish to support in order to be able to input that PMA supporters number there, and then that you'll get access to that allotment of the PMA supporter tickets. Okay, a PMA may establish additional eligibility, so just keep that in mind. You probably have to be part, like for example, with U.S. Soccer, with Canada Soccer, you have to be part of their the supporters group, and that might be the way that you get that PMA number. Okay, remember that this draw will go from December 11. Today is December 12th as I'm making of this video. And it will run all the way to January 13, 2026 and end at 11 a.m. Eastern. It is important that you keep this in mind. Okay, they're giving us a month for a reason. And that is because, as you'll see later on, once you submit this application, that's it. Okay. You can't be submitting multiple applications. You can't be really editing a bunch of stuff all the time. No, you got to submit one application and you are done. Okay. So yeah, you just got to make sure that you're good to go. okay, that you have set everything together. We'll talk more about this as we continue. Okay. All right. You'll have to set up your FIFA ID. I think that's kind of already been beaten verbatim, so you do need to do that. All right. So random selection. So how to enter these draws? Okay. So for the random selection draw, eligible persons will select and complete the random selection draw application in the My Application page. Okay. And you will click where it says random selection draw. I know there's a whole list of other countries there. My team, Curacao, Croatia, ID, Morocco. You might not see your country, like Colombia. You got to click on random selection draw. All right. I'll show that process on the live stream instead of here, since this is the review of the rules. But you got to click on random selection draw to enter for all the other countries. All right. Then there's the PMA draws. During the intra-period, PMA supporters may apply for supporter tickets and conditional supporter tickets by submitting an entry applicable to their selected PMA from the My Application page of the ticketing account. So again, you have to enter that access code. It's going to be right at the beginning of that landing page. And then you select what you want. Self-selecting PMA supporters. Certain PMAs may allow PMA supporters to enter the PMA draw by self-selecting themselves as PMA supporter. If the PMA allows you to do that, then you can go ahead and enter for that draw specifically. When submitting your entry, you must select a specific quantity and category of tickets for the matches for those made available to you, the selected tickets. All right. You have to pick category and number of seats. Remember, it's still 4 tickets maximum per game, 40 for the entire tournament. All right. So FIFA will attempt to allocate selected tickets to eligible persons, so the success will depend on overall demand. If you pick one category and they've kind of ran out of that category, they will drop you down to the next category. All right. So that's why if there is a quote unquote trick to getting tickets, is that people will say, okay, give me category 1, right? Since considering that for this World Cup, there's a lot more category 1 tickets than category 2, then category 3, and definitely no category 4 tickets. So people will pick category 1 and hope that they get bumped down to category 2. If you have the money to pay category 1 tickets, sure, you can do that. I'm going to go for category 1 tickets because I want category 1 tickets. But if they punt me down to category 2, cool. I save myself a couple extra $100. All right. But if you cannot afford category 1 tickets, then do not do that trick. All right. In any case, you may be allocated the next lower category tickets where this lower category was not available at the time of submitting your application. So you basically are allowing FIFA to say, okay, look, we'll give you what you want based on availability, but if we need to knock you down, we will knock you down. All right. PMA supporter selected tickets can either be supporter tickets or conditional supporter tickets. As a PMA supporter, you will have the option to select supporter or conditional. So when you're reviewing the ticket options, if you want to go to that game, you're gonna do support. Okay. But for conditional, that's for the later rounds. So if you're really hoping that England is going to bring it home, you're going to pick conditional supporter ticket for the quarterfinal, for the semifinal, for the final, but you have to pay for that ticket in February. I know it is crazy. It is very mafioso, very ghetto of FIFA to be this demanding of your money right off the bat, but that is what they're doing. If your selected tickets are conditional supporter tickets, they are subject to a refund in the event that that team does not make it. So you better hope that you have that money to, first off, pay your credit card in full. And then if your team does get knocked out early, there's an upset, well, they will give you your money back at least, but they want the money up front. Okay. We'll talk about the prices of the tickets in the live stream. Payment authorization. As part of your entry, you must also provide your personal details and payment of a credit card. All right. There might be a zero value transaction charge just to hold the credit card in play. Okay. I think this is an important part here. You cannot change or update the payment card associated with an entry into a draw. Okay. You further acknowledge that the amount charged will be the amount, or it may be less, right? Again, given that if they bump you down in ticket category, all right, or if your application is partially successful. All right. So put the real credit card that you're going to put there. If you put a debit card, be very careful because that automatically will charge you straight to your bank account. Whereas with the credit card, you have the end of February to pay the credit card off in full. So I would highly discourage you from using debit cards and instead use a credit card. Okay. Ideally one with a cashback or points and miles. And that way you can use that for your travels. Okay. So that also means that when you are submitting this application, again, you are not going to be able to go back and edit the application. You'll have to cancel the application in its entirety, and then, and only then, go back and redo the entire application in full. Okay. So just be mindful of that, please. Okay. Um, Again, there is the household restrictions. Again, 4 match per game, 40 total for the tournament per household. Okay. That's actually indicated here. However, that rule does not apply if you're applying for one application as a PMA and one application as a random selection draw. So you can submit 2 applications, one as a supporter of that country, again with that access code, and then one for the RSD draw. Why am I concerned that there's going to be people trying to sell these PMA codes? I'm not even going to put that energy out there. Anyway, I only got a couple of minutes left here so now I can do this in one shot. Void entries. So FIFA sees anything wrong with that application, they reserve the right to completely null and void the application, and you will be basically SOL. All right. The prize, of course, will be the fact that you get allocated tickets. All right. There could be either success, which means that all the tickets that you apply for will be allocated to you, which means then you got to pay for those right off the bat. There could be partial success, which means you either got some of the tickets you wanted to apply for or you got bumped down in category. And then you could also just be unsuccessful and be SOL again, right? FIFA, I'm looking at you. You are not too good for my money, all right? I'm actually wanting to give you my damn money. Anyway, beginning of February 2nd and continue through February 5th, FIFA will do the draw, okay? So that's when they will decide who's getting tickets, who's not, all right? And they might get you with the PMAs. Cool. Notification winners will begin no earlier than February 5th. Okay. So starting February 5th, check your spam folders. Make sure FIFA's emails are not on spam, and you'll be waiting for that email. Upon being selected as a prize winner, well, the other way you'll find out if you got tickets or not is your credit card will be charged automatically for the total amount due. So again, do not apply for more tickets that you cannot afford. Apply only to the amount of tickets that you can afford, because you will be charged in full, man. There ain't no way you're gonna go back and edit that application or tell people, actually, hey, hold up, no, I need $1,000 for Valentine's Day. They don't give a damn. You applied for 10 tickets, they will either charge you for 10, drop you to 5, and that's that. But if you could realistically only afforded 2 tickets, you better apply for only 2 tickets. Another thing, this is why this credit card is so important. If your card declines, they might reach back out to you to be like, hey, your card declined. Do you have another one? Or they might just take the easy route and say, screw it, this application was a dud, next person. They are under no obligation to contact you. This is in their terms and conditions. So if you start saying in February, oh, FIFA didn't contact me, I didn't know my card was declined. Oh, well, so sad. They're going to point out to this section here, section 10, clause B. They're not obligated to tell you your card got declined. You poor bastard, is what they'll say. All right, less than a minute to go. I think that's pretty much it, if I'm not mistaken. Additional agreements to release, general conditions. Yeah. Just basically don't try to defraud them, because they're going to pretty much send all their lawyers back. You probably can't do arbitration, or can do. Yes, arbitration should be complete. Yeah, there's an arbitration agreement here too. All the stuff that we don't really read. Again, this is all in the legal documents section of FIFA's website. Read all that as well. But basically, if you buy a ticket, man, they probably ain't no way we could go ahead and sue them for paying overpriced tickets. We could have easily just not bought the tickets. I think it's basically what it is. Oh yeah, waiver of jury trial. There you go. Man, this is a nonprofit. God damn. All right. Anyway, those were the rules for Phase 3 random selection draw and PMA draw for FIFA World Cup 26, effective from December 11, 2026. If you have any, 2025. If you have any further questions, go ahead and drop it in the comments. Again, as always, make sure you subscribe to my channel, click on the bell button, do all the things you got to do. All right. I know these ticket prices are insane. I know there's a whole bunch of bullshit. But who's gonna be there in the Colombia games in Mexico? I'm not going to the one in Miami though. No. Ronaldo could kiss my ass. I'm not paying that much money to go see his bum ass, on a retirement tour. Vamos Colombia. Let's go ahead and beat Portugal. That's gonna be a 3-2 game. Vamos Colombia.